Welcome back to Algebra 2 class. Today we are still in quadratics, and today we are going to learn to solve by completing the square quadratic equations. This is on page 223 to 224 if you're in my class. If not, you can still learn the technique. We got this one, and then I believe solve by using the quadratic equation, formula coming up, and then we're done. We'll start hitting the final review and get ready for the finals. So the end is near. Hang in there. Okay, so on this, I think I assigned you like 1 through 12 or something like that on this page. I expect you to do all of them. This is not as tedious as some things that we're doing. Things you want to look at when you're doing solving by completing the square. You want your x squared term and your regular x term on one side by itself, and you want no number in front of x squared, and it must be positive. If this is negative, I need to move it to this side to make it positive. You want your regular number on this side of the board, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to take half of whatever the term is in front of x. So that's a -2. Half of -2 would be -1. And I'm going to square it. -1 times -1 makes a +1. Whatever I get there, I'm going to add that to both sides. So I need to add 1 to this side and 1 to that side. That makes this one a perfect square trinomial, and this one's going to make it 144, but this side doesn't really matter as long as you add the 1. So I'm going to rewrite that to make it x squared minus 2x plus 1 equals 144. Then what you're going to do is you're going to factor this side. And whatever you got here, that's what you need for your factor. You'll take the square root of x squared, and you'll take this number that you had in parentheses there, which was a -1. And don't do anything to this side. Alright? So I factored that as x minus 1, and that happens twice. You got to square it, okay? Then we take the square root of both sides. The square root of this is always going to be just what's in the parentheses. So that's just going to be an x minus 1. And the square root of this is always going to have a plus and minus, because 2 negatives can make a positive and 2 positives can make a positive when multiplying. So the square root of 144 is 12. Now, all we got to do is solve both of those equations. You have to solve x minus 1 equals a +12 and x minus 1 equals a -12. So when I do that, I'll say x minus 1 equals +12. I will move this 1 over, and x equals 13. That's one answer. Then I'll say x minus 1 equals a -12. I add my 1, because that's a negative. I get x equals -11. That is my other answer. So there's the two answers, and that's it, okay? So I'll slow that down just a little bit on this one once we put it in order and show you, but it's not that difficult. It's almost like solved by factoring, almost. Alright, so number 5, I picked this one because it's all out of whack. The x squared's over here, the x is over here, and you got a number with the x squared. First of all, remember, x squared needs to be positive. It's already positive over here, so I'm leaving it on that side. I need to move this one over here and this one over there. So to move 180, I add it to both sides. And I'm going to get 180 plus 8x equals x squared. Then I'm going to move 8x over because it belongs with my x squared. Okay, that's going to give me 180 equals x squared minus 8x. I don't care that these are on the right side and that's on the left side, okay? You can flip it around as long as you keep the signs the same, but that has to be positive. So I'm still going to do the same thing, okay? I'm going to take half of what's in front of x. Well, half of what's in front of x would be a -4. And I'm going to square that. -4 times -4 makes a +16. So I need to add 16 to both sides. Okay, so that essentially, and I need to just move this out of the way and so that I can stay in frame here. Don't forget to be writing these notes on the board and sending them in with your work for extra credit. And don't forget to be picking up all your work packets. We've had 4. One of them was 2 weeks worth, so it's a total of 5 weeks worth. Alright, so this part right here I'm about to move over here. So I have x squared minus 8x plus 16 now. Let's get that out of the way. Alright, and then on this side I'm going to have 196 because 180 plus 16 is 196. Okay? Now, remember, I got to factor this. And I'm going to take whatever number that I had put in parentheses right there, which is minus 4. And I'm going to leave this one alone. Then I need to take the square root of both sides. Okay? This one's always just going to be what's in the parentheses, so x minus 4. Okay? This one has got to be a plus or minus, and let's see. That is 14. Now, it's not always going to be a perfect square on this side. It may end up having a radical in it, and that's okay to have a radical answer. I don't know that I picked one that had a radical answer, but sometimes that does happen if it doesn't become a perfect square. Alright, so now that I have that, I'm going to solve both equations. I'm going to solve x minus 4 equals a positive 14, and then x minus 4 equals a negative 14, because I have to do it with both of those signs right there. I don't know why I just dotted the board up. Let's try and do something different. Didn't work out. Add 4. X equals 18 right there. Add 4. X equals negative 10 right there. And we're done. Okay? So I'm going to show you one more. And I'm going to try to stay out of the way, so you may not see me on camera, but hopefully you can see the work. This is number 9. And this is a y squared, but it's the same as if it was an x squared. There's nothing in front of there that's positive. I got my y term over here, and I got my other number over here. So half of 22 is 11. Okay? So 11 squared, I think, is 121. Yeah. So we need to add 121 to both sides. So I will have y squared plus 22y plus 121 equals, this is a negative 120 and a positive 121, a 1. Okay? Now I need to factor this side. So y, and then this is a positive 11, so I'm going to put a positive 11 there. And I'm going to leave the 1 alone. Then I'm going to take the root of both sides. Okay, remember that just comes out to y plus 11. And this one will be plus or minus 1. The square root of 1 is plus or minus 1. Now again, I'm going to move over to that side of the board and solve this so that you can see it. My apologies for not giving myself enough room here. I'm trying to get it dry. You're going to hear the little scrunchy noise. Absolutely hate it. Okay. So I'm going to move this over here. Y plus 11 equals plus or minus 1. And I'm going to solve both of those. So y plus 11 equals a positive 1. Y plus 11 equals a negative 1. Okay, I need to move my 11 over, and I'm going to get y equals negative 10, because a 1 and a negative 11 makes a negative 10. I'm going to move my 11 over this time, and y equals negative 12. Negative 1 plus negative 11 makes negative 12. And we're done. Alright? Thanks for watching. Have a good rest of your day, and God bless.